Hey, sister.
Hey, sister.
Well, last week we were basically trapped in the car holding our breath as Cujo closed in. And I'll say, I had a couple of nightmares about mean dogs.
Did you really?
I did. My whole life I've had nightmares about mean dogs.
I know, I do too sometimes. But yes, we were. But I'm so glad we did that movie. It's one of the scariest movies to me. It's so, like jump scare.
It is. And spooky season's over, as you say.
It's over. I hope everybody had a happy Halloween.
I know.
I actually, today, I think I told you this earlier, I'm fighting a migraine, sister. That changing weather.
Yep.
Gets to us. So
yes,
hopefully it will not inhibit my storytelling today.
I hope not.
I know.
Because we've got quite a juicy one today.
Yes, we do. Juicier than I ever suspected.
Yep.
We are actually trading rabid dogs for complicated relationships.
Yes. It's not about the survival of being stranded and stalked by Cujo, by a mean dog. Although Cujo wasn't mean, but the disease
I
made
know.
him
Remember
mean,
how
right?
sad he was?
Yes, of course. So it's not about being stranded. It's about surviving love and lust and everything in between, sister. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
It has Rob. Go ahead.
Yes. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
It has Rob Lowe. It has Demi Moore and a beanbag.
Yes, it does. In fact, that's what I wasn't going to say a beanbag, but surviving all of those things in the 80s.
In the 80s.
It was a time of its own. All right, real fans, if you haven't guessed it yet, today we are rewinding a little gem called About Last Night.
I'm Amanda.
And I'm Missy. And this is Real Sisters Rewind.
Join us as we go back to the 80s.
Hey, real fans. Welcome back to Real Sisters Rewind, back to the 80s. We're two sisters who love movies and love taking you back to the ones that defined us and defined a decade.
And if you're enjoying the podcast, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a 5-star rating, and write a quick review, please.
That's right. I'm Missy, the big sister, here with Amanda, my little sister. And when you write that review, be sure and take a screenshot and email it to hello@realsistersrewind.com because we're sending out some real love, real sister stickers to everyone who shows us some love.
That's right. And they're super cute. All right, real fans, let's rewind to 1986 and step into the complicated chemistry of About Last Night.
About Last Night was released in theaters on July 2nd, 1986. I was 17 weeks away from turning 18, and I was getting excited about college. What about you, sister?
Well, when you said that, when I saw 1986, I remember I was like, "Ooh, that's the year Missy graduated."
That's right.
So I was thinking about you being that age, and so I was 9. Definitely not old enough for seeing this movie in theaters or at home on the VCR.
No,
Or
I
the
swear,
Betamax.
after watching it, I'm like, I wasn't old enough to see that movie. Like, it
Did
was
you
a
see
lot.
it though?
I'm pretty sure we did go see it in the theater. I can't say definitively, but something about it reminds me of, like, here we were graduates from high school. We were, you had to be
18.
17 to be able to get into an R movie. It was, Rob Lowe and Demi Moore. And so I do think we probably saw it in the theaters, but that's about all I can remember is that we would have seen it. And the beanbag. I'm telling you, the beanbag is just like an extra character in this movie for me.
I I bet you did see it in theaters.
Do you remember the first time you saw it?
No, I don't.
Was this the first time you saw it
So
during the
as I
rewind?
was watching it, I know that I'd seen definitely parts of it. Like for sure, there were parts that I like knew and kind of knew the story.
Uh-huh.
But then there were parts that I had not seen. So it makes
Yeah,
me
me
think I had
too.
not seen it all the way through.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure, but it's a doozy.
It's a doozy.
It's a doozy. Well, let's hop into our pop culture spotlight for when About Last Night first hit theaters.
Okay, sister. The number one song in the US that week was There'll Be Sad Songs to Make You Cry by Billy Ocean. That was number one. And actually there were a few good ones on the list. The Jets, I've got a crush on you.
Oh
That's
my
a
gosh.
good one.
I used to love the Jets.
I know.
That's a great example of one of those 80s bands or groups that we would make songs or make dances up to.
Oh yeah. Also the one was out nasty boys don't mean a thing. And then what would she say? Miss Jackson, if you're nasty, or something like that in it, which is appropriate for the movie we're rewinding this week.
It's Janet Jackson, if you're nasty. So, okay, wait a minute. What else do it? Because there was a lot of songs on here that are it's like some weeks we get top 10s that are like, what's that?
Exactly.
But I feel like on this one, I mean, we've got Danger Zone.
Yep.
Sledgehammer. Do you remember the video for Sledgehammer?
I remember it was
so weird,
like psychedelic or something.
It was like newspaper, not newspaper,
yeah,
but
that's
like
what
paper doll clippings or something.
Yeah, that's exactly what I meant.
I love that song, Holding Back the Years.
I couldn't even think of what that one was.
And oh my gosh, Who's Johnny is number 3.
I can't remember that one, but I loved me some DeBarge.
Yes, Who's Johnny is Who's Johnny, she said. And I don't know if it smiled or tried to look the other way. Who's Johnny, she said. And then it's like,
yeah,
I love you. Or
I
love
don't
her.
think I know that song.
Oh, I'm going to find it for you.
Okay.
I'll find it for you.
Okay.
And play it. Genesis, Invisible Touch. I mean, I know all of these. These are good. Those are good ones. 86.
It was a good week. 86 was a great year.
It was a great year. And I don't know if I've said it. I definitely have not said it enough on this podcast. And I don't know if I've ever said it. But and this is obviously why we're doing it, because we love 80s movies. But I stand on it still. The 80s decade had the best movies and the best music.
Yeah.
Not the best clothing and not the best hair.
True.
But it had the best movies and the best music.
Yeah. So good. So true.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm sticking to it. All right. Oh gosh, sister, number 1 on TV. Who was it? Everybody say it on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
The Cosby Show.
That's correct.
But
people were still loving them some Cosby and some Rudy Huxtable.
They were Rudy Huxtable. But, I found a snippet from TV Guide. And it was just like the day the movie came out. And there were some things that I remembered. Highway to Heaven with Michael Landon. Do you remember that?
Sister, real fans, y'all, I need to post this for real fans, because this is great. Like seeing, just like you said, Highway to Heaven. Like
Give
all
me
of
a
these.
break.
Yes, I used to love Give Me a Break with Nell Carter.
I'll tell you the one that stood out to me that I almost changed the trajectory of my life was Hotel. 9 o'clock, ABC, Hotel, and Connie Selica would walk down the staircase of the fancy hotel. And I thought I was going to go into like hotel restaurant management. I wanted to live in a hotel and like have been the hostess, and until I found out for the degree, I had to work in the university cafeteria for 2 years.
Yeah.
And I
And
was
then
like, no, thank you. I want the glamorous side, not the food
I
prep
want
and
the
cleanup
Connie
side.
Selica.
I want to walk down staircases in formal gowns and entertain people.
She was so gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
Like sort of almost like a Crystal Gale with that long black hair. But I know hers wasn't nearly that long.
Yeah. And she was definitely a beautiful woman.
No, I know, but just that same kind of like that. I just think about her black hair. And wasn't there like a cute guy in it too? There was
Yeah,
a
but I
guy.
can't think of who it was. The
Me
man
either.
who,
But he was really cute too.
yeah,
Like he was a really handsome man.
and they had like a love affair. And
So the show that I see on here that I did not watch as a kid, but remember it being a big show was Saint Elsewhere on NBC.
And I don't know why. I guess I was watching Hotel because they
Yeah.
came on at the same time, and there was
For
no
sure. I just remember
DVR.
people talking about it a lot,
Yeah.
like St. Elsewhere being almost like ER
Yeah.
would have been for me.
And you know what? I just had this
Grey's
aha.
Anatomy.
Like now we can watch something else on another channel and record it. But back in the day, VCRs,
Oh,
your
no, you had to
TV
pick.
either had to be off or you were recording it while you watched. Like you couldn't get multiple shows on multiple
record another
channels.
station.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. You had to choose. You had to choose. I have one more thing to say here about Give Me a Break. This is a shout out to my friends now, my college girlfriends and I on our text thread. We love to make reference to Nell Carter. And when there are people that we just find being a bit ridiculous and we have to say, give me a break, we love to use the like memes and icons from Give Me a Break. We're always like, give me a break, Nell Carter.
Give me a break, Nell Carter. I love that. I can totally see you and your group doing that. Well, the People magazine, there was this. Well, first of all, we've got a little shot of the wax on, wax off.
Wax off. Ooh, it's Karate Kid time.
Karate Kid. Yep. But we have a picture of Kim Basinger from that movie. I think it was like 7.5 weeks or something like that. But
9.5 weeks.
You know, 7's my number, so that's probably why that happened. But it's not about that. The People magazine article is the big article is Uncle Sam's Dirty Book. I feel like it's ironic because of our movie, right? But there was a U.S. commission that was linking smut, in other words, movies, TV, etc., to sex crimes, and the U.S. was declaring war on all of that smut. And there was this chilling report that came out, and it was, is Hollywood too hot? And so
maybe I think this is very interesting considering the time we're living in now.
I know, right?
I'm like, this wasn't the beginning of it. I know the beginning of it was before that, but there's I'm not going to get into it, but
yeah. You're right. There's a
rabbit hole.
There is a rabbit hole. You're exactly right.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
All right, let's get into some Do You Remember? Nancy Reagan, my girl Nance.
Loved her. What happened?
She cut a red, white, and blue ribbon to reopen the Statue of Liberty after its refurbishment. And I do remember it being refurbished.
I do
because it was in bad
It was
shape.
like they gave the old lady Liberty a facelift and a tummy tuck and a makeover.
Yeah, I think she had parts that had like fallen off and I think she was not in good condition.
Yeah.
So,
well, Amanda, one of the longest #1 singles of 1986. I'm going to see if you remember this song, and we've got a little story to go about it. I intentionally didn't put it in our research because it was a song that you and I have a special memory to. Do you think you know what it is?
Uh-huh.
What? Did you go search?
No, you just said we have a special memory.
Well, we've
Oh,
got lots
no.
of special
No,
memories.
I do bet I know what it is. Go ahead.
What do you think it is?
No, tell it.
It is that's
That's what
friends
friends are
are
for.
for.
Uh-huh.
And so here is the background on that, real fans. When my sister, 8 years later, we weren't in the 80s anymore, we were in the 90s. For her senior trip, she and I went to Disney.
Disney World.
Just the two of us. I was already a mama. I already had a little baby Michael who was 9 months old when we went.
Yeah, but you didn't hesitate.
It was good for him. He got to bond with his daddy for those few days we were gone. It was good. But we go to, at that point it was called, wasn't it called Passion Island? Like it was
Pleasure Island.
Pleasure Island. That's right. It was Passion Island is the TV show that's popular now. It was a place where you would go, like adult nightlife in Disney, which is now Disney Springs, but that's the way it started. And they had all these little stores and a comedy club. Remember, we went to that comedy club and laughed, and that was so fun.
And they had like themed bars.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
Really cool. But they were really cool.
Yeah, they were. It was really cool. But there was this one little like corner shop where you could make your own video that would be like a video from MTV.
A music video.
A music video.
Yep.
But it was lip syncing. But you could kind of sing over it, which we did. And the song we chose, sister, was
That's What Friends Are For.
But we had a little twist. Tell them about the twist we did.
That's what sisters are for.
Yep. And at the very end, when they have that very serious note, that's what sisters are for.
I remember what we had on and everything.
I do too. We've got that VCR tape that we like took our picture with on it, and it's very 80s. We need to try and find that image.
Okay. I'll try to find it.
Okay. So that was the Do You Remember that I brought to the segment.
It's hilarious. Okay, here's one more Do You Remember, and we'll get into the movie. And this is a Do You Remember that I love. And I think these still exist. They're like not, I guess, other products like this have come out. And so they don't have a monopoly. But do you remember certs?
Oh, I loved certs, and I loved to keep them in my purse. And they had that aluminum and wrapper that you
you just pop one right out.
I don't know if they make certs anymore.
And you could keep that little what would it be called? That little stack, that little tube of certs in your purse. And sometimes you'd forget they were in there. And sometimes you just find like a lone certs just
in the bottom of your purse. Pop it in your mouth when you need it most.
But let me tell you why I love certs. Because they were like a candy, because they were sweet. Also breath freshening, but they weren't too strong in the breath.
So strong. Yes.
Like an Altoid, right?
Oh my gosh, yes.
They weren't too strong of a breath freshener, but they weren't too strong of a candy either. Like a peppermint, I feel like is a little bit too candy-ish for me.
I do not like peppermints.
I
only
either.
like those peppermints that are like
that
real
melt.
airy. Yeah,
like
they
Bob's.
melt. I'll tell you this. I don't really like hard candy, like hard sucking candy, like Jolly Ranchers, peppermints, anything that's like got I don't really like those. Now, I'll tell you what I did love that's in the same family as like a Jolly Rancher.
What?
I loved me some of those. And this could be an extra bonus. Do you remember those? It was at London's cherry throat lozenges. Oh, you didn't like those?
No, but I do know
Do you know what
those.
I'm talking about? They almost look like a Mike and Ike or whatever. But
they're Ludens.
Ludens, that's what it was.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I used to pretend like some like in class, and you'd be able to have a cherry lodgings. I loved those. Oh, that makes me want one right now.
But you would eat a certs if I gave you
I
one.
definitely would eat a cert, but it would be a hard pass on a butterscotch, a
Oh,
peppermint,
butterscotch is
um,
awful.
a Jolly Rancher. No, thank you.
Well, butterscotch can't even disguise itself as a breath freshener like a peppermint can. Ugh,
Right. No, you're
gross.
right.
All right, sister, we got to get into this movie.
All right, let's go.
So
Let's go.
let's dive in. Let's start with the writer of this film. The screenplay was written by Tim Kaczynski and Denise DeClue, which is interesting to me that it was, I guess it makes sense that it was a male and a female because
Yeah.
it kind of delve into both of those ideas. But anyway, it was based on David Mamet's 1974 play, Sexual Perversity in Chicago, which probably should have still just been the name of the movie.
Yeah, I should have. And let me tell you, when I was doing research on the movie, he must be something like some fancy guy because it was always
Who,
like,
David Mamet?
yeah,
He
like,
is. He's a very famous playwright.
Mamet's this and Mamet's
Mhm.
take on that and Mamet's this. And I was like, just give me Rob Lowe. Like,
He is a very famous playwright.
okay, all right.
I can share with you at some point some of his famous plays. Okay, so fascinating note is that the original play was much darker and more cynical about relationships,
Ooh.
which yikes.
I mean, if the
I wouldn't have
movie
enjoyed
softened
that.
the tone at
Yeah.
all,
That's what, the movie softened the tone to make it a little more romantic for mainstream audiences.
well, I can't imagine the play then, is all I can
Right?
say, right? Okay, well, the film was actually, Amanda, considered risky. You know,
Yeah.
Columbia Pictures was a little concerned about the risk because of its frank sexual content, but it actually became one of their surprise hits of 1986. Thus, the old government report into what's going on with the smut, as the People magazine said.
Well, it's true.
It is true. The movie was actually directed by Edward Zwick, and he went on to direct some movies that we know, Glory, which
Is amazing.
great movie, Legends of the Fall, which makes
Amazing.
everyone think when they see it, I think it was the bear.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, that's where you go. And The Last Samurai, which I heard was amazing, not a movie I would watch in 2003 or now.
I think I did see The Last Samurai, but let me just say something real quick about Edward Zwick, because that means he worked with
Brad Pitt, Danny Glover.
Yeah, who else was it in Glory? It was
All I can think of for Glory is Danny Glover.
no. Denzel Washington.
Oh yeah, that's
It was
right.
Denzel Washington and Morgan Freeman.
Oh,
So, and I think Denzel is a cutie.
I
So
love
we've
Denzel.
he's worked with cutie pie Denzel Washington, like really good looking, Brad Pitt, really good looking, and Tom Cruise, very good looking. He was in The Last Samurai.
Oh, that's right. He sure was. Well, maybe Edward Zwick.
And Rob Lowe in
That's
this.
true.
So
That's
he
true.
has an eye for the good looking man
To put on the screen. That's right.
Yes.
That's
like,
right.
Those are some of like the hottest hots in Hollywood.
Yeah. And I just want to say something as we're talking about Denzel. I don't know if you've seen any of his motivational stuff on social or on YouTube, but the man is, I mean, in a mountain of
His own.
a lot of smut, I'm going to keep going back to that, probably that People magazine. He is all about finding God and pursuing the best things in life. And I think he's an incredibly positive, motivating star. Really a needle in a haystack.
I agree. He's a great man. By the way, do you know that Papa went with me to the movie theater to see Legends of the Fall?
I do think I remember
Just like me and
that.
Papa. I was like, you're going to love this movie. And he went and saw it with me. To this day, he calls it Leaves of the Fall. To this day. I'm like, Papa.
Well, let me see. We're going to go see that movie, Leaves of the Fall. Amanda, remember when we went to see Leaves of the Fall and the bear?
Oh, yeah. That's exactly right. Okay, so stars of this film were some of the hottest young actors in the 80s. And that, I think, to me, it was a huge, like, motivating factor for people to go see it.
Absolutely, it was.
Rob Lowe played Danny Martin. Fascinating fact, Lowe was already a member of the Brat Pack, which we have talked about many times, as he was known for St. Elmo's Fire. But this time, he actually was able to have more emotional depth in the leading man role. And it's funny because he's like really different in this role than the way he was in St. Elmo's Fire. Like that was something that was kind of like a little bit jarring for me. Like, I don't know, he was just different. It was weird.
See, I kind of thought he was the same but different, but I get it. I get it. Okay. And we had, of course, Demi Moore, who played Debbie. She was Danny's love interest. And she was just coming off a string of Brat Pack movies, of course, including St. Elmo's Fire. And her chemistry with Rob Lowe and About Last Night, it really was a big reason the film did so well, because Rob Lowe and Demi Moore were also reportedly dating in real life. And so fans wanted to see it. And apparently, reports say that it added to their on screen chemistry, which they definitely had. Two beautiful people.
Oh, yeah. And even in St. Elmo's Fire, they had great chemistry.
Yeah, they did. But it was more of a friend chemistry.
Yeah. But they had it even then.
I know. I'd love to see them on the screen again together.
If y'all want to play a drinking game with even if it's just water or Diet Coke, every time you hear me say that Demi Moore has absolutely stunningly beautiful hair in this movie, go ahead and take a drink.
Oh, I thought you were going to say every time you say fine, because I was fully expecting to hear you say that Rob Lowe is fine.
It's coming, don't you worry. Or you can also drink when I say how fine Rob Lowe is, because that is what caught my attention the entire time. That and Demi Moore's stunningly beautiful hair. Like multiple times, literally in my notes, I wrote stunningly beautiful hair.
Yeah, she is.
So to prepare for this movie, Demi Moore actually moved to Chicago again with the Chicago.
I know.
What? They must have been given some tax credits or something.
Maybe so.
But she moved to Chicago months before filming to immerse herself in the city's vibe. Jim Belushi played Bernie Litko, who is Danny's so obnoxious, loudmouth, best friend. But I told you this, Missy, when I was watching it, his voice and like way he spoke, if I closed my eyes, I could have just as easily thought it was Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Like I literally could have been Bill Murray, which made so much sense.
Had that kind of vibe, yeah.
Because we were just talking about that in Ghostbusters, how it was for Jim Belushi, but then Bill Murray did it, and that makes perfect sense because it was like one and the same. Belushi actually stole a lot of his scenes with his brash humor. Like it was I could definitely see guys like thinking it's hilarious.
It just grated my nerves, but yes.
And you know what? Here's a fascinating fact that might explain some of that brashness, is that a lot of his improv lines were based on real people and conversations that he grew up around.
Yeah, because he actually is a lifelong Chicagoan. Like he grew up in Chicago.
Yeah. And so he was actually pulling from that.
He may have revolted me in this movie, but many critics at the time really praised him. for his supporting role as like the most memorable performance of the whole movie. So I didn't get the vibe. Again, Rob Lowe, the beanbag, and Demi Moore have the most memorable performances.
Well, I will say this about him though. He was all in.
Yeah, he definitely
That
was
type
all
of a
in.
role. Like you're like, oh, this is who this guy is.
Yeah. And of course, we have the bestie, Elizabeth Perkins, who was in Big, which we rewound earlier this fall. And she played, as I said, the best friend, Debbie's best friend, Joan.
Joan
And
is the perfect name for her in this
Joan
movie.
is the
Joan.
perfect name for
Yeah.
her. And here is an interesting note that this film was actually her feature film debut, and she went on to star in Big with Tom Hanks just 2 years
Later on.
Yeah.
Yeah, she looked really young in this.
Yes, she did.
And that short curly hair was really something.
It was.
So I guess it just didn't seem like, I don't know, like a young like girl living on the town. But I guess in the 80s, I actually think it would have been.
Yeah, she probably paid money for those curls with a perm, a short perm.
Oh, yeah, girl.
Yeah, might have.
Probably so. Okay, well, the film was obviously rated R, and it is a 1 hour and 53-minute run of a movie.
Yep. And the budget was about 8.5 million, and it grossed nearly 40 million, like about 38.7 at the box office. And so it was a financial success.
Yeah, people were like, this is what happened. People, like young people, probably went because they're like, oh my gosh, Rob Lowe, Demi Moore. And then they left and they were like, y'all, you got to go see this.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
It is something to see. And people were like, really? Oh my gosh. Or people just went back to see it again.
That's right.
In terms of awards, About Last Night didn't score any major nominations, but it did become a defining 80s romantic dramedy and is still remembered as one of the standout Brat Pack era films.
Yeah. But interestingly enough, Elizabeth Perkins was actually nominated for a Chicago Critic Film Award for her performance. But this is the interesting thing. It was years later, even though it was her debut. So it actually did get nominated years later for her performance, which I've never even heard of, but I thought it was interesting enough to share with our listeners.
Huh, that is interesting.
All right, real fans, grab a seat at the bar and lean in close. It's time for About Last Night.
Okay, so here we are opening up. We're in Chicago. And the very first thing we see is Jim Belushi being disgusting.
Obnoxious.
Yes. And disgusting, like immediately. And the scene went on too long, like longer than I needed to. But he's giving a description of his wild sexual encounter that he had, quote unquote, last night.
He had some shenanigans.
And he goes on and on and on.
It was horrible.
And as they move from the scene, walking down the street to the subway to the bar, like all this time he's telling the story is about last night, like the shenanigans of last night throughout all of this as they're walking through Chicago. Finally, they end up at a baseball game. And as he's telling the story, it just gets wilder and wilder and wilder.
Okay, I just had an aha though when you said he was telling the story of About Last Night. I guess it's setting the tone for the title. I did not have that aha until you just shared that.
So that's kind of how we start and get the background of what we get an idea of, like what this is about, what these two guys are about, right?
Yeah.
So then we cut to later. Danny's softball team is playing a team from the advertising agency where our female lead, Debbie, works. And Debbie and Danny are flirting.
They're kind of flirting
they're
it up.
flirting it up after the game. He's kind of got his eye on her. But remember, we saw in the previous scene how gross he and his buddy are. And so we're like, gross. But they're flirting it up, and they all end up back at this bar that we will be in a lot during this movie called Mother's.
It makes me think a lot of the bar at St. Elmo in St. Elmo's Fire.
Oh my gosh, it totally does.
I know. I guess that was maybe a thing of those 80 movies for this age was.
Yes. And so they kind of arrange to, not kind of, they arrange to have like a casual hookup back at Danny's apartment. Neither one of them, like it wasn't, they were like, it was very much a casual hookup. I'll say that.
Smut. I'm going to keep using the word smut to go back to the People magazine article.
And I'm going to keep saying that Rob Lowe is hot. He is fine.
Yeah.
His eyes and that dark hair and his face, he is fine.
I'm going to just say something though. I totally agree. But generally, he's not like super masculine. Like
he is not super masculine. You're right.
And I generally am not. I don't usually think like a less
boyish.
masculine guy is as you would say fine, but he is indeed. He is fine. But I want to say one thing before because I know you're gonna move on. But I do want to say that the bar scenes were actually filmed in a Chicago tavern, which is why they felt like really authentic.
Oh yeah.
They were in a real Chicago tavern.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Well, like I said, they go to have this very casual hookup at his apartment. And I thought this was funny because we talked about the characters before. We've got Danny and his friend who is Jim. Wait, what's Jim Belushi's character's name? I forget. I'll come back to it. And then we also have the Demi Moore character, Debbie, and her friend Danny. And so they're always like Debbie and Joan are always together, right? And so they were at the bar together that night. And I just thought it was so interesting because when they get to his apartment, Debbie and Danny, he is like, let me go grab a shower. And I'm like, wait, did she just leave her friend at the bar? The 80s are so unhinged. Like, that is not a thing you do now. You're not like, bye, I'm going to go up to Danny's apartment and just leaves Joan with her perm at the bar? What? Like, that was so bananas to me. So bananas. But anyway, she's trying to like be cool and he's trying to be cool. He's got his headphones.
Yes.
Which are not like headphones we have now. They're like
like Walkman headphones.
Walkman headphones.
Yes.
And so, but he's got like a double set. And so he puts them on her ears. He's got them on. So they're like listening to the
both
music.
Listening.
Yeah. Yes. They're plugged into his ginormous stereo, like against the wall. Like we've talked about him before, like the huge ginormous stereos. And they start making out with the headphones on. They start making out. Wait, is this where they're on the beanbag?
They're on the beanbag. Yes. They're on the beanbag. And I don't know. I guess because we grew up, we always had a beanbag growing up.
Yeah.
And, prior to this movie, that's nothing I ever thought about for a beanbag. But for some reason,
there you go.
The beanbag stood out to me.
Didn't we have green or were they orange beanbags?
We had black ones. I think we might have had some green and orange. Yeah, beanbags were such the thing.
Yeah. Such the thing. Okay, so yes, they were on the beanbag that Missy has like burned into her image. She can't ever forget. But anyway, so yes.
And I will say that, and we talked about this earlier about how risky it was for the studio. These scenes between, Demi and Rob were really considered bold for the time. And they were I would say they like pushed boundaries of what like a mainstream R-rated romance could show.
Yeah, I can't believe that it wasn't like rated X or something.
No,
Like
I
I
know.
can't
Like
believe this was on the theater in
I'm
the theater.
sure I was blushing when I watched it if I was in the theater.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can guarantee I was blushing as a a middle-aged woman.
But not yet. Like at this point, I still don't know what's coming. I don't know
Well,
what's
I
gonna
guess
happen.
I do know what's coming, and I'm already
like,
blushing.
Yeah, not me. I'm like, oh, they're making out. She's sleeping over, having a one night stand. That's where my mind is at. But they're not really. They don't show anything here, really.
That's true.
And so I'm like, okay, one night stand, and I know this because she tries to sneak out, and it's very awkward. She's trying to get out of there. And she, by the way, has some very rad Reebok high tops that she's trying to put on to get on out of there. And he's kind of like, where are you going? What? No need to sneak out so fast. And she's like, bye, I'm out of here. So Danny gets back to work the next day and he's talking to Bernie. Bernie's Jim Belushi's character. Talking to Bernie, and you can tell that he really liked Debbie. And he doesn't really want to talk about her as a one-night stand the way Bernie was talking about the girl in the first scene. Like, yes, you can already tell he really liked Debbie. Because
you can.
Not talking about her in that way.
So I want to say one thing about the high tops. Seeing those Reebok high tops makes me think, I don't know if I ever had a pair.
I don't think you did.
You do think I did, or you don't?
I don't. I don't think you ever liked those.
I ever did. I'm really funny about my shoes.
Yeah.
And I just don't, I'm sure in my mind, like I didn't think they looked feminine or something. I don't know, but I don't think I ever had a pair of high tops, and they were such the thing.
Yeah. I had Converse high tops, but I never had Reebok high tops.
I don't think I've ever had any high tops.
All right. Well, you can tell he really liked her. And so one night becomes more nights.
Yes, it does.
One
night becomes two becomes three.
Exactly. It's so cute because basically they call each other the next day at the same time.
Yes.
Like they're calling each other the same, which is really cute. And they both want to talk about last night. Yep. And we see Debbie's boss come in to apologize about last night. And it's clear that they have something going on, which made me think of Demi Moore and St. Elmo's Fire.
Yeah, me too. I thought about the same thing. Now, I will tell you that, like, her fashion in this film, particularly like her big, beautiful hair and those blazers, this movie really did become like a trendsetter for mid-80s, like working women. You started seeing it in the fashion magazines, et cetera, and it's traced back oftentimes to this movie and the way she looked in this movie.
Oh wow, she was so beautiful. The hair, her hair, I'm like, I don't know if she obviously just had good hair, right? Like, I mean, it just did what it was supposed to do.
Yeah,
but it was so beautiful. So they meet up again, obviously. And they're at Mother's, the bar. Joan and Bernie are with them, of course, and they do not hit it off. But
they're like arch enemies from the beginning. They can't stand each other.
Yes,
she's grossed out by him, and he's repulsed by her.
Yeah. In some ways, Joan kind of reminded me of you. Like, I was like, this is how my sister would feel. No, not as a like, not the way she looked or anything, but like, this is how I was like, if my sister were in this situation, this is definitely how she would feel about Bernie. She wouldn't be able to just like joke it up and be like, haha, that Bernie. She'd be like, he's disgusting. Which is fine. Right. I mean, she's right. She wasn't going to give him a pass. But I do have to backtrack just a minute because I mentioned that earlier we saw that when she was on the phone with Rob Lowe, we see her boss walk in and something's going on between them. And she kind of blows him off to go have this meetup with the friends, Joan, Bernie, and Danny. So that kind of situation's happening in the background too. We got to kind of like keep that that in the back of your mind.
Very true. Yeah.
So anyway, like you said, Joan and Bernie do not hit it off. And this ends up leaving Debbie and Danny alone, and they end up back at his apartment. And their physical connection continues to strengthen. And as these spend the nights are happening, we see an emotional connection happening too. Um, we get this cute little montage of them like
I love this part of the
Me
movie.
too.
I love montages.
yeah, oh we have so many montages in this movie. So many.
I
But
know.
there are a lot of them. But this is where they're like first, hitting it off other than the quote unquote in the bedroom. They're like getting
Right.
out and about and they're like hanging out at baseball games and going to museums and a diner. And it's like, all this is happening relatively fast.
Yeah. And I will say, I'd love to throw in little tidbits here and there, is that the Cub game scene were really shot at Wrigley Field with real fans in the background.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's fun. That would
Yep.
have been fun. Okay, so they had made plans with their friends, Danny with Bernie and Debbie with Joan, separate,
Mhm.
not together.
Right.
But they got caught up in all this
Just
fun
got
they were
caught up
having
in the
together.
moment.
In the moment, got caught up in the city of Chicago doing Chicago things, and
Shenanigans.
and they totally forgot they were supposed to meet up with their friends. Now, remember, which I know we all do, there were no cell phones then. There was no, oh, I'm not going to be able to meet you, blah, blah, blah. If you're out
You
and
were
about,
just a no-show.
you're just a no-show. And there's no way to get around it because there's no way to communicate that. So they end up at his apartment for another night. And both of their friends are mad because
They're pissed.
they're pissed because they've been stood up. Now, separately, like I said, but they were
Right.
still both really mad. Um, Danny's friend Bernie really disapproves of him, like, quote unquote, settling down and losing his single lifestyle. Like, he's
Yeah.
like, no, because as
He's
we
like
know-
ragging on his friend.
yeah, because his
sure.
friend is like, really likes Debbie and is like,
Right.
this isn't just a one night stand kind of a thing. This is like, I really care about her.
But I think, Amanda, that Joan acts like a bitch.
She does. She does
She
act
is
like a brat.
so rude to her friend.
She is. She's really bratty about the whole situation because they're adult women.
Yes,
I mean,
they
they're
are.
very
And-
young.
And in her defense, she had a bad breakup, but I don't know. I just can't imagine the dynamic that they showed between Joan and
Debbie.
Debbie. I just couldn't imagine having a friend like that. Like, she just was a smart aleck to her the whole time, throughout the whole movie. But Perkins actually said that her chemistry with Demi Moore in the friendship scenes was as important as the romance to actually like grounding the story, which when you get to the end of the movie,
It makes
see
sense.
that it makes sense. And I think she is a good friend, but in the interim, I'm like,
I
girl,
agree.
who
I agree. At
needs-
this point,
who
you're
needs
like,
enemies if that's supposedly your
I
friend?
know. And like, she would have people sleep. I don't know. I was like, at first I thought she was being judgmental about that, but then she was having people over and stuff. Anyway, it was just weird.
Yeah.
But so yeah, Debbie, Joan's roommate, as you were saying, was skeptical. I say more than skeptical.
Yeah. at
And
best.
concerned for her friend. Because she had recently had a really bad breakup of
That's
her
what I had
own.
just said. Yeah.
So because Danny had that beautiful day in Chicago skipping around the city with Debbie, he was also
Mhm.
skipping a day of work.
And he missed some important stuff.
And he missed an important deal that he had been trying to close at work. Now, I'm not exactly sure still to this moment what the work was that they did.
Right.
Did you get, I wasn't sure what their job was.
I don't know. All I could think of throughout it was Costanza.
George
yeah, like-
Costanza?
yeah, George Costanza. Like, are they in imports, exports,
Exports,
trades. I was
totally.
like, I don't know what they do, but I kept
100%.
thinking of George Costanza.
Agree. So Bernie is giving Danny a hard time.
And what does he do?
So he
turns into a cool cat for a little while.
Turned into a cool cat. And he's like, I'm not going to call her for a couple of days. So even though he really likes her, and these are the games, boys and girls listening at home, don't play the games. Just don't play the games.
I wonder if people play the games now like they did back in the 80s. I mean, it was
I don't know.
Real. You had to act a certain way if you were a boy. You were the cool cat.
I think they do. I think the games are different now, though, because you've got locations on and social media.
Yeah. Probably very, very different.
Very, very different. But he's cool cat. He doesn't call her for a couple of days because Bernie's giving him a hard time. But then they run into each other again one night in a bar. And that motivates her to actually take a stand and break things off with her boss. So we see like the next day, she's telling her boss, we can't do this anymore.
Because obviously they had been up to some shenanigans of their own.
Oh, yes. And so she's telling him at this point, we can't continue with this because I think she realizes she really likes Danny and Danny really likes her. So she's like, I'm seeing someone else. It's over. Cool. So that's, she's dealt with that.
Right.
Well, she goes over to Danny's apartment to try to figure out what's going on between them. Like, what's the deal? She's broken it off with the boss and she wants to figure out, she saw him at the bar and she wants to know what's really going on. Uh-huh. So he talks her into coming in and we see some sexual escapades.
Smut.
Oh my word. I could not believe my eyeballs. I couldn't believe my eyeballs.
Yep.
Is this where we get the what I would think of as it's not really, but like the Rob Lowe sex tapes? I mean, it is. Is this that part or is that later?
I don't know. I hid my eyes a lot.
I'm just going to tell y'all. I'm just going to say it. In this movie, you get full nudity.
Yes, you do.
You get full. That's what that's what my mind is blown about because that's not to me the norm on the big screen. And you get it from male and female, full nudity.
Yeah. And then I'm just going to move us on to the next morning where he asks her if she wants a drawer.
No, wait, this is very important.
Okay.
Because there's a part in this.
Oh, where I know where you're going.
Slips up and he's like, I love making love to you.
Yes. So we know he's feeling the feelings, which is why the next day he's offering her a drawer. Next thing we know, they are moving in together. And Joan is pissed.
She's so mad. She's pissed that they're moving in together, even though she obviously is helping her. And she's, everybody's really hostile to each other because Joan and Bernie don't get along. Bernie doesn't want him to be settling down.
She's so mean to Danny too.
Totally. Just so rude. So they finally get moved in and we cut to another montage of them moving in and trying to adjust to getting everything into one space, what we're going to keep, what we're going to throw out, and of them just living with each other's new habits. And because as they start moving in, there's a lot of tension and you're like, oh gosh. But then we see in this montage how they're trying to sort of like work through that. And it's really cute.
In a cute way. Yeah.
In a cute way. And it's a really cute scene when our very hot, fine Rob Lowe hangs another hook on the bathroom door for her robe.
I know. I loved that.
It was so cute. So cute. And so then we come out of the montage and we're settled into, they're just living in the apartment.
Yeah.
Well, phone rings as it does. And Danny is talking sort of suspiciously. Debbie's like, you can tell who is that. Anyway, turns out it was an ex-lover who is now
secret lovers.
That's what we are. That is now married with kids. And he tells her, sorry, he's now living with Debbie. So he does say, hey, sorry, I have a girlfriend now, I'm living with Debbie. Well, this does still throw Debbie into a spiral. He spills some tea. This becomes a big argument. And this is funny. He grabs, and this is kind of important because it comes up again. He grabs this little towel to wipe it. And
yes.
This is such a girl guy living together thing. Like, right? Like, as a girl, you have special decorative items in your home.
Things that have a lot of meaning to you.
Mm-hmm. Things that have meaning and things that are there to be pretty, not to actually be used.
That's so true.
Right?
Yes.
The boys don't have a clue, right? It's all the same to them. So when he spills the tea, he grabs a towel to wipe it. And she says, no, I made these in Girl Scouts. It was for my hope chest. And he's like, what? And so I'm also rolling because she's talking about her hope chest.
I know. And that's not a thing anymore either, hope chest. I mean, probably if somebody's listening and they weren't of the 80s, they don't know what a hope chest is. Now, I never had a hope chest.
Which I'm kind of surprised.
I know. But a hope chest was something that I guess later in the teenage years, girls would get, and they would, I guess, collect things.
Yeah, you put things in that you would take when you get married.
Yeah, when you get married one day, that you hope you'll get married one day, you are putting things away for that time.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So he just totally doesn't get the importance of this, right? As, a guy. It's very typical. So as we know, living with somebody is difficult. And so tensions start to build because Danny's coming home from work after multiple bad days. And also very typical, he doesn't want to talk about it.
No,
he doesn't want to talk about
this part of the movie, like the stress and the strain, was predictable.
Yeah, you knew this had to be
everything in this whole little section of the movie was completely predictable.
Yeah, this had to be coming.
Yeah.
So I love the scene when he's laying there dead asleep and she's like, Danny, you asleep? Because she's wanting to talk, right? Like, it's like stressful to go to sleep, but without talking it out. And he's asleep. Like the guy, it's so typical. So typical.
Yes.
So, I mean, I know I've done that before. So cut to the scene where she is going through his stuff. So this is now she's at the apartment alone and she's like, let me take a gander. So she starts going through his stuff and he walks in. And it's dramatic and I was myself like kind of like, what's going on here?
I know.
Because there's a moment where she starts crying and wants them to be closer emotionally, not just roommates. And I'm just
they are not just roommates.
I know. Like I was feeling I was like, wait, what? I'm so confused.
Don't you know if that were a real life setting, he would be confused as well.
Yeah, 100%. And I think he was. I think he was confused. And I think she was really wanting more from him, like maybe a proposal or something.
Right.
But she was making it sound like they weren't in a committed relationship, which I think they were clearly, but
But he was aloof.
he was aloof.
Distant.
He
and
was
so
being distant.
Girls panic when that happens.
Yep.
If you're not giving her, especially in that, if you're not nurturing that relationship,
then you think
then you
something's wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we cut to another montage.
I love the montages.
Let's drink for the montages.
Let's do it.
Cut to the montage of them now just doing their mundane daily activities. Like, it's like they had this fight and now they're just back to doing their daily activities.
Like dinner together at home.
Yeah, but they're not. Yeah. So I guess they've decided, like, from that conversation, they're going to try to, like, take it a step further in this relationship.
Right.
And they're just, living together and doing their thing. They seem happy.
They
right?
do seem happy.
And the montage, oh my gosh, this is where it is. Okay. Rob Lowe is fine, as we have established. So is that why he is cooking and, like, doing things around the house with his shirt unbuttoned?
That would have been a rule if he had been with me. When you are cooking dinner,
when you're home,
unbutton that shirt and prance around the house, because he is pretty to the eyes.
And he's just, like, got his shirt unbuttoned all the time.
Yeah.
This is where they get fully nude. So I was thinking it was later, and this is when that is.
Yeah.
And this is when they have some escapades as well. And at the end of this montage, she says, Danny, in her, like, raspy Demi Moore voice.
Great voice.
And her gorgeous hair.
Yeah.
I love you.
I love you.
And he says, I love you too. And I think they're happy.
Yeah,
right?
It seems like it. Yeah, for sure.
It seems like all is well. So now we cut to Debbie and Joan having a drink. And Joan wants to know, are y'all getting married?
And she says it so not even nice. Like,
do you think?
Tell me where things are going. Yeah. Like, do you think he's the one? It's like, right. So are y'all getting married?
Yeah, like very condescending.
Yeah.
And Debbie's like, we don't really talk about stuff like that. And I think here's what's interesting. I think Debbie and Danny were fine with that. Like, they were happy where they were. Things were moving along at the pace that felt right for them. And when they have friends that are putting these little bugs in their ear, it started making them, like, wonder or question things. Like, I think she was fine. And then Joan says that, and she's like, oh, well, maybe we should be talking about that. So, of course, this is another predictable. They have a pregnancy scare.
Yep.
And
as our moms would talk about people when we were growing up, if you play, you pay. But she wasn't pregnant.
She wasn't. I was going to say she didn't have to pay. She was not pregnant. But she does admit that she was a little bit sad.
Yeah.
Which I think that freaked him out a little.
I think it freaked him out. Those exact words is what I was going to say.
Yeah,
he's a little freaked out. I think
he was like, whoa.
And you can tell, like, he's beginning to feel that pressure because, like, at work, he, like, yelled at his boss and things just seem to be spiraling a bit.
Yeah, especially at work. It feels like he's having a lot of trouble at work.
Yeah.
Well, back at the apartment, Debbie tells him, you don't have to go back to work there if you don't want to. Like,
because he has this dream of opening his own restaurant supplies.
That's it.
That's what it was. Like, restaurant kitchen supplies.
You're right.
I think this is when I figured it out in the movie.
Yes, because you're right. He was selling. He had that guy at the diner that he was selling to, and she says, you don't have to. If this isn't what you want to do, you don't have to go back to work. I'm making enough money to tide us over. And he doesn't like that.
Of course.
He doesn't like that she's, could be the breadwinner. By the way, did you notice the couch cover?
With the splatter paint?
100%.
Oh, absolutely. Did it remind you of that sweatshirt
Mom.
that I had? Now it's Mom's.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I had a splatter paint sweatshirt.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yeah.
And that was their couch.
Yes.
I literally took a
it was such a thing in the 80s, the splatter paint.
Well, looking back on it, I feel like splatter paint was just like a cop out. Like, I'm not really like, don't know what to do with these colors. I'm just going to splatter paint
It was an artistic expression at the time, though, sister.
Well, after he's had this really difficult time at work and she's saying, you don't have to go back. Bernie comes over and begs him to come back to work. And he asks if Debbie is pushing him to stay away from work, which she's not pushing him to stay away. She, I think, is encouraging him more to find his dream, to go after his dream. So the next day is Thanksgiving, and they are having people over, of course, Joan and Bernie, which I don't even know why they would do this to themselves. So stressful. They're having a huge fight trying to get ready. And Danny's hungover because he had gone out the night before and stayed out the whole night. Not cool.
Was probably that feeling you got there where she was probably ticked off about that in the air. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And this continues on to fight after fight. And I just have to make a note, real fans, if you want to see some gorgeous 80s hair, go to the Thanksgiving scene because her hair is
she is so beautiful in that scene.
Stunning. The volume. I mean, it is stunning. Okay. Yep. Anyway, they end up arguing to the point that Debbie leaves and she ends up going to Joan's.
Yeah.
And she gets a little TLC from Joan, which Joan was very sweet to her here.
She was and needed to be.
Mm-hmm. Needed to be. And we also, I think, at this point find out that Joan has a little man.
She's got a little escapade going
on. She's got a guy that's been staying with her.
He was sus to me, though.
Oh, he was definitely sus.
He was really sus from the first moment I saw him.
So she decides to head back home to the apartment where she finds Danny sleeping on the couch, and they lovingly embrace. Now we cut to Christmas parties for each of their jobs. And oh boy. So
this was
Danny comes to her office to pick her up. And there's a Christmas party. Like I said, it's the Christmas party, but she walks back to the copy room to print something. And her boss, Steve, is like putting the moves on her, and she's not
at all interested.
No.
But the timing
was bad. He's like walking her to the elevator, and I think she hugs him bye or something.
Yeah.
And right at that time, the elevator doors open. Danny sees it, and he flips out. And so she kind of pulls him back, and she's like, it's nothing. Don't worry. So they get on the elevator and head out. So sidebar, when she's getting on the subway, did you notice her wrap? Like she's got like a blanket over her.
I did.
I was like, Mary, did you know?
There was no Mary, did you know in this movie?
No, I know, but that's what it looked like.
Yeah.
So obviously we're in the holidays. So we've gone from the Christmas parties, we cut to New Year's Eve, and she has cooked a fancy meal, but it's just the two of them.
Yes. And you feel
it's awkward.
It's very awkward. They're
tension.
Like we're here, we're having this fancy meal, but
just the two of us.
All our friends are out and about.
And we're like sitting here for this fancy dinner, and there's a lot of tension, and so it's very quiet, and they're like kind of digging in when the phone rings, and it's Bernie. Everyone's there, and he's like, "Come to Mother's," and Debbie says, you know what? Let's go.
Yes.
And he's like, yeah. And they're like, yeah. So they end up going to the bar. And at first I'm thinking this is probably good, right? Like they need to go get out, have some fun. Well, it's a big crowd. Of course, everyone's drinking. And at this New Year's Eve party, Joan finds out her boyfriend that's been staying over.
And the one that I said was sus.
But we have up to this point no reason to think that he's nothing but amazing.
Except that
we felt he was sus, but I mean he seemed legit.
Yeah.
Nope, he's married and he's going back to his wife. And just about this time, while she's trying to Debbie's trying to console Joan, she looks over and sees Danny kissing a chick from work that's always trying to hook up with him.
And she was very aggressive.
Very aggressive.
He could have gotten out of that.
For sure.
But
Well, he
did
always
not.
did before.
Yeah. That was, again, predictable. And
well,
she sees it and gets ticked off.
For sure. And as she should. A big fight breaks out, and Danny is super drunk.
I mean, like
St. Elmo's Fire.
Yes.
Drunk when he is so. And that scene with Demi Moore where he's
that's right.
So gross with her. And Debbie is like, I'm out of here. So she takes a very upset Joan home because, of course, Joan's upset now because of the situation. So she goes home later when I say home, back to
their apartment,
where they decide this is just not working out. And they're very just like calm again. But they decide that I think one of us should move out. And she says, I do too, through tears. And again, her hair is on amazingly. It's beautiful. Ultimately, he says, I don't love you anymore.
It was heartbreaking.
So sad.
I know.
And he's so fine. And I'm like, are you crazy? She's stunning.
Yeah.
And sweet and a good
girlfriend.
There
has been a lot of ups and downs.
There's been a lot of drama.
And trauma and drama. Yeah.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. I did make a note that she was not a great crier.
She was not. And that whole scene was like gave me vibes like of St. Elmo's Fire.
Well, I said this would be a good time for Rob Lowe to get his lighter and aerosol.
Tell her the story of St. Elmo's Fire.
So he can demonstrate the St. Elmo's Fire.
And then, Amanda, we get another montage.
Yep. After the breakup, they have a montage of the sadness in his empty apartment. Well, too bad for you, buddy.
Yep.
He goes out with Danny, and Bernie's such a bad influence, and Debbie and Joan go on a bad double date.
I mean, really bad.
I'm like, were these two guys gay? Like,
I don't know.
What was going on with them? It was so weird. But back at Mother's, we hear the saxophone. And for a second, I thought Rob Lowe was going to be playing it.
I thought he was.
But it wasn't. And he sees a girl at the bar that he ends up going home with and regrets it immediately the next morning. He's like, he realizes this isn't it. Like, this isn't what I want.
Yeah.
And
he's become domesticated, or he's in the process of.
Then another scene, he runs into this beautiful blonde that invites him up to her fancy apartment. And they kiss, and he's just like, I can't do this. I'm thinking about someone else.
Yeah, you begin at this point to see almost like he's tormented by it now.
Mm-hmm.
He
knows it's a mistake.
Yeah, and this is, I think, about the time that he and Bernie like get into a fight, and he's like, he admits that he loves Debbie.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and it's like, I think at that point, Bernie kind of backs off of him a little bit because he's like, oh, this is serious. Well, meanwhile, of course, Debbie is struggling with the split as well, and they're trying to date other people, but they can't move on. And Danny just feels lonely and regrets his decision, and Debbie's hurt, but she insists she's over him. She's like, I'm over it. I'm over it. Danny calls Debbie one day out of the blue at work, and she's surprised, and he admits how much he misses her and that everything's fallen apart. And he asks for one more chance, and she says, don't ever bother me again.
I know, but he needed that.
Oh my gosh, don't ever bother me again. And then there was some sad saxophone music.
Yeah, there was.
It was really sad. I was like, girl.
I know.
What?
Well, then we have another holiday.
Yep.
Another holiday rolls around now. St. Patrick's Day.
Yep, St. Patrick's Day. Mm-hmm. And Danny makes several attempts to win Debbie back. He apologizes. He declares his love for her at a St. Patrick's Day celebration at the Bar Mothers, but she just keeps rebuffing him and
Yep, she's just
emphasizing
like,
it was
she is
too
holding her. She's
holding her,
digging
protecting her heart.
digging her feet in. Yeah, yeah, she's holding on to her heart.
She keeps emphasizing how hard it was to get over him.
Yeah.
And it's too much. So we get another montage.
Yes,
of Danny walking
he's
home.
sad. Yes.
A sad Danny walking home in the pouring rain. And this was an odd scene to me. We see Joan watching over Debbie crying in her sleep. Like Debbie's crying in her sleep and Joan's like watching over her.
Yeah.
Like, what is this drama?
Well, she was a school teacher, so maybe she's used to kind of like nurturing people. Although you didn't see much nurturing anywhere else.
No, you did not. You did not. Well, Danny finally decides to make a change in his life and he quits his job.
I was so glad. Of course, predictable. You knew early on what was going to happen.
And then this was really funny. So Danny quits his job and he's starting a new beginning. But we also see this funny scene where Joan and Bernie are the only ones at the bar. Like the bar's really empty and they're both had just like shown up to get a drink. And they drink a toast to Danny and Debbie being broken up.
I know.
And Bernie's like, do you want to dance or what?
Yeah, he thinks he's going to score with her.
I thought, you know what I thought of? I thought of When Harry Met Sally. I was like, these two are going to end up together like the friends did in When Harry Met Sally.
Yeah.
Remember the two friends?
Yeah, I would not have been surprised if the movie had taken us that way.
Yeah, me too. I kept waiting for that to happen. But anyway, like we said, Danny did quit his job and is trying to move forward. And he partners with a bartender named Gus to open an old school diner, the Swallow.
His dream.
Fulfilling his dream.
Yes.
And so Joan and Debbie get into it. Debbie admits, you've done everything you could you did everything you could to break us up. So they finally have it out, which I think needed to happen to keep the movie going. Like they needed to have that.
I agree.
That conversation. And then we move now into spring and the boys, I guess we're to think at this point, I mean, it doesn't say time's gone by, but we can tell because the season, they're out, the boys are out playing baseball again. It's Bernie and Danny out playing with their team. And we see Joan and Debbie riding their bikes by where they're playing baseball. And they see the guys out on the field, and Joan actually encourages her to go talk to Danny. And so she goes down to the field and she looks so cute in those overalls.
She's a doll. I love this whole scene.
I love this scene so much too. And he is just lights up when he gets to talk to her. Lights up. And she approaches him and they both kind of express regrets about the relationship and lessons.
And I will say, Joan does encourage her. She's like, go talk to him.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. For sure. And again, I don't know if that would have happened had they not had that
fight.
Like
you've not supported me in this the whole time. Yeah.
And I hope that we're being left to think that they're going to get a second chance because they do, as she turns to leave, Danny does ask her out again, and she smiles and suggests they go to some old joint, which is the diner that he's now opened. She knows he's opened the diner, and I hope it's like an indication that they're going to maybe start over.
I know.
And Bernie sees what's going on too, and he actually encourages Danny to go run after her when they leave on their bikes. And it ends with Joan and Debbie are riding their bikes, and he grabs his baseball stuff and is running after them.
Runs and runs and runs and runs.
Yeah.
It leads one to think there might have been a sequel.
Possibly, yeah.
Like if I was a producer in Hollywood right now, I would try to get those two together and do like all these years later about last night.
Yeah,
Which I
like
guess is a great segue, sister, to does it measure up?
no, I was very disappointed in
I
this.
know. I don't think it does either. I think it could today if you did a
They have a remake of it.
no. I know there's a remake of it, which I think it bombed. It kind of
Mhm.
took the take of About Last Night and made it like more comedic. But I
Oh.
think if you redid it today, 80s fans would come out. Even though like we watch About Last Night now and you're like, it's not, it's predictable. It
It was kind of boring.
kind of boring. It really was. But I would like to see where their lives had progressed from
Oh,
the
yeah. Like a
he
sequel.
was
Yeah.
running after. Yeah, like a sequel.
Yeah. I
Like,
would too. I would
give
too.
us another movie. Where are they now? Let us see them with their kids. Let us hear them tell stories to their kids
Yeah.
about their kids are having trouble and they're saying, well, let me tell you about me chasing your mom through the ballpark one
Yeah.
spring, right?
Yeah.
Almost, I would love a little bit of what we got in Raising Arizona.
Mhm.
We knew
Mhm.
everything worked out and they had all their kids and they were at the table.
Oh, yeah, that little ending. Yeah,
Yeah,
that would have been cute. But I will say they were both adorable. Demi
they
Moore,
were adorable.
precious, and he is fine.
And I will say, without it, this is the one reason I would say that it does measure up. It itself doesn't measure up, but it did really kind of kick off that romantic dramedy boom that
Mhm.
led later in the 80s and definitely in the 90s to
To
movies
more
like
of
When
that.
Harry Met Sally and um
True, true,
you
true.
know what You've Got Mail and some of those
Classics that we love.
classics that we love.
True, true, true. True, true. But yeah, so I'm going to say real fans, like if you've never seen it or you're like, maybe I need to watch that again, you're good.
Yeah,
You're good.
if you just listen to this, you know
You're
all the
good. Unless you
predictable
just want to
details.
see a really hot Rob Lowe. Then
Yeah.
that could be a motivating factor.
Well, real fans, that's a wrap on About Last Night, a movie that reminded us that love in the 80s came with equal parts of laughter, heartbreak, passion, and some first time smut.
Inappropriate scenes.
Yeah.
And now it's time for clues to see if you can guess what movie we're rewinding next week.
Okay, our next film blurs the line between fantasy and reality in a way that audiences had never seen before.
Ooh, that's a good clue. I know what it is. Clue number 2, a certain redhead proves that appearances can be deceiving.
Clue number 3, you'll never look at patty cake the same way again.
Can't wait for this one. Be sure to subscribe, leave us a 5-star rating, and write a quick review.
And don't forget, send us a screenshot of your review to hello@realsistersrewind.com and we'll mail you a Real Sister sticker to say thanks.
Thanks for rewinding with us, real fans. We will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.